The police started to suspect something because he didn't cry. The perfect murder. Jeremy Bamber called the police with a nervous voice, informing an officer that something bad was happening at his family home. His parents and young nephews were dead, supposedly killed by his sister. From the beginning, he played the role of a devastated son and brother who had lost his entire family in one day. Later, it turned out he had orchestrated everything. Born in 1961, Jeremy Bamber was not the biological son of June and Neville Bamber, a couple who lived on the large White House farm in Essex. Unable to have children, they decided to adopt abandoned infants. They first adopted a 3-month-old girl they named Phyllis, who everyone called Sheila. A few years later, they took in 6-month-old Jeremy. For the first years, Sheila and Jeremy did not cause much trouble. However, once Jeremy reached his teenage years, he disregarded the Bambers' principles and beliefs. He got into fights, committed thefts and burglaries, and became addicted to heroin. He was also bisexual, which greatly upset his very religious parents. After a few years of trying to find himself in Australia, he returned to the UK. Unable to keep any job for long, he eventually started working on his parents' farm. Despite their disappointments, they decided to give him another chance. Sheila's life, who seemed to be the apple of her parents' eyes, was far from calm or happy. A failed modelling career, an abortion pressured by her parents, an unhappy marriage with Colin Caffell, diagnosed schizophrenia, and stays in psychiatric facilities made her a heavily burdened person by the age of 20. In 1979, she gave birth to twins, Daniel and Nicholas, but it did not save her marriage. Sheila's lifestyle, partying with friends, meeting older men, and even sunbathing naked, was highly disapproved of by June, who sometimes called her daughter the spawn of Satan. Sheila, on the other hand, would get furious whenever June forced her sons to pray. This strained relationship between mother and daughter and Sheila's health issues were later cruelly exploited by Jeremy. The night Sheila supposedly went crazy. In early August 1985, both Sheila with her children and Jeremy visited White House Farm. She came from London for a visit, and he came for dinner. They had a meal with their parents, and according to farm workers, the atmosphere was calm, and June and Sheila were amicable. However, on the night of August 7th, Jeremy Bamber called the police, trembling, to report that something bad was happening at his family home. When Jeremy and the police arrived, they found all the residents dead. There were signs of a struggle in the house. Neville Bamber lay dead on the kitchen floor. His wife was in the bedroom in a bloody nightgown, and Daniel and Nicholas were killed in their beds. Sheila was also found in her parents' bedroom with 2 gunshot wounds under her chin, suggesting suicide. The gun lay beside her. The investigation began the next morning. Farm workers, Sheila's ex-husband, and Bamber relatives were questioned. Jeremy admitted that his father had called him in the middle of the night, saying Sheila had gone crazy and had a gun. The call was cut off, so Jeremy called the police. He also called his girlfriend, Julie Mugford. Initially, it seemed like the emotionally unstable Sheila had indeed committed the murders. However, the police found it difficult to piece together the evidence. How could the slight Sheila overpower her over 190 centimeters tall father? How did she shoot one person without alarming the others? Did she use a silencer? If so, she couldn't have shot herself under the chin due to her short arms. Or perhaps someone else committed this shocking crime. At the Bamber family funeral, crowds gathered to bid farewell to the farmers, their daughter, and 2 little boys. Jeremy, following the coffins, seemed distraught, but didn't cry, which raised police suspicions. Moreover, after the ceremony, the 24-year-old went out for dinner with friends, which seemed suspicious to family members who wanted to mourn together and felt ignored. His girlfriend turned him in. A few days after the murders, the case took a different turn. The police found a silencer hidden in a drawer with the Bambers and Sheila's blood on it. This indicated she was shot with a silenced gun, which, as previously established, was impossible. Additionally, no gunpowder residue was found on her hands, so she didn't shoot her parents and children. Suspicion immediately fell on Jeremy. Julie, his girlfriend, significantly contributed to Jeremy's arrest and charges by confessing to the police that her boyfriend had planned the perfect murder, primarily motivated by money. He told her that although his parents' wills stated that he and Sheila would inherit half of the estate each, he had no intention of sharing. Upon their deaths, 24-year-old Jeremy became the heir to a $400,000 fortune. Jeremy was first arrested on September 8th. A few days later, he was released on bail and went with a friend to Saint-Tropez, where he tried to sell nude photos of Sheila to the press. He was re-arrested on September 29th and charged with 5 counts of murder. The trial began on October 3rd, 1986. The accused insisted on his innocence, and the defense tried to undermine the evidence and Julie Mugford's testimony, claiming she was coerced by the police into incriminating Bamber. The jury was not convinced, and by a significant majority, Jeremy Bamber received a life sentence, being considered one of the most dangerous criminals in the UK. Over the 35 years since the verdict, Jeremy Bamber has repeatedly sought a retrial, but his requests have been denied. The last attempt was in March 2021, and he still maintains his innocence.